good dag, good folk. As you know, so I do thank you for being prepared to spend these 2 days in English. I'm just going to kick off with, good. So just to kick off, I think the first thing is, and we've got a 2-day program, I want us to have fun. Tourism is about having fun. There's going to be a lot of work. Today is about sharing experiences, and tomorrow is going to be more technical, but I want us to have fun and discuss. So today is really about sharing experiences and learning from each other. So I do thank you in advance for being prepared both to present on your issues and areas and for discussing them. So the 3 expectations that I think you can have of the day are, first of all, that we walk away tonight with an understanding of what are the main challenges that you face in developing a DMP. Secondly, that you get some insight into how others within Iceland, because I think it's important we have a range of different practices in Iceland. Some people have already started developing a DMP, but also we've got Anthony Clemson from the New Forest in England, who is, if I may say so, I think considered a bit of a guru on destination management, over to talk and discuss with us later. And ultimately, that's about having confidence to get started. Because one of the things I've detected is I think people are a little bit wary about starting. It's like everything, like any relationship, do I go into it? But once you go into it, the momentum takes over and you'll soon find you wondered why you thought there were any problems. You'll soon find there are, but you wonder why you thought it was difficult. Tomorrow, for those of you who will be here, is much more technical. I'm not going to go into that just now. So what I want to do now is go through, take you back to the national stage, look at the big picture of future challenges. Why is destination management important? Then we'll have a snapshot overview from 5 areas, and then a deep dive in 4 areas, and then Anthony from the New Forest, and then discussion, questions and answers at the end of the day. Can I ask, can we have the 5 shorter presentations? We've devoted 20 minutes to those. Please, if you can allow time for discussion so that we're not sitting being presented that all day. This should be about discussion as well. We will give you a shout at 10 minutes when you're halfway through your talk. What's that? Oh yeah, Anna will. Can't read that. Oh yeah, Anna will hold up a 10-minute sign, which will let you know that it would be quite good to be thinking about ending so there is time for discussion. So if you could leave, ideally, at least 5 minutes for discussion, that would be great. So let's just go back to the big picture. Can I just ask, who here was at the Ferda Slova conference a couple of months ago here in Harpa? I think most people were. Right. I see more than half weren't. That's good in a way, because forgive me, I'm going to go over a snapshot impression that I did there, because I hope it might be quite useful to set the scene. But people asked me then to say, give my impressions after my several visits to Iceland on how well Iceland was doing. And the first thing, I want to do pluses and minuses. The people, they come across really strongly. In all destinations, people are a big thing. But I think in Iceland, we were saying last night, I genuinely think, and it's not just because you're here, I genuinely think that in Iceland you treat visitors as people. In many countries, visitors are treated as tourists. But you do, and I think, please never lose that. Never lose that. So that's a really strong positive impression that I have. You're friendly, you're welcoming, you're very open and straightforward. You have, as I've learned to my cost, a very good sense of humour. I won't go into that just now. Very resilient, which is partly to do with weather and landscape. And there's a dynamism energy, which I think underpins a really good future for destination management planning. So it's really, really positive. However, on the other side of that coin, there are always negatives, but this is what people have said to me in Iceland. Well, we're fishermen. When the fish are there, we fish, and when they're not, we don't. So it means we take every opportunity we can, but it does sometimes mean we don't plan. We have a just do it mentality. And that's critical to the DMP. We need to be thinking about planning because the fish or the tourists might not always be there if we don't look after our environment. Another thing people have said, and I stress, I'm letting myself off the hook here by saying this is what people have said to me, but it is. People have said we're very individualistic. We're farmers or fishermen. We don't work with other people. We don't collaborate. We're individuals. I don't know how true that is, but that's what a lot of you have said to me. Again, we need to work together in planning, so that's quite critical. Very results focused, which is great. But again, people have been saying, well, because of the fishing mentality, we have a short-term focus. We don't think long-term. We don't plan. I leave it to you to think whether your fellow country people are telling me the truth or not, but that's what I've fed back to. But, and I keep showing this because I think never lose it. This, the Euros, you entertain people with the quality of your football, but more than that, the spirit of your fans. And I keep saying that the French don't borrow much from other people, but they did borrow your chant. So to me, this just sums up Iceland so strongly, so powerfully. What about the country? Well, it's breathtakingly beautiful, a pristine wilderness, which is rarer, getting rarer every day as we build over our countrysides around the world. Geologically, it's mind-blowing. It's clean, it's fresh, invigorating. It's what people want. There's a tranquility that we don't find in our busy metropolitan lives anymore. And there's a serenity. And the most important thing, it gives people emotional space, which is why a lot of people travel, to get away not just from busy lives, but to find space in their own heads. So you've got so much going through the country there. On the other side of that coin, and these are my observations, there is a lot of congestion at pinch points, at Geysir in particular, at Goldfors, at lots of places, the Golden Circle really, which is a real issue, I think, for the future, because what is your strongest asset is your nature, along with your people. And if that gets destroyed, then you're going to lose a lot of future business. Parking toilet facilities are always come up. They sound banal almost to talk about them, but I'll just make 2 points. Sometimes where people park destroys a natural site. Not that it erodes it, but you look at the view and you can't see the view of cars. Or the toilets are horrible porta cabins, and I keep coming back to why not turf them over. We'll get on to that when we talk about destination audit tomorrow. But I think they're utilitarian without much design. So that's one thing I think. Sorry, signage. I've gone on record as saying I think Iceland is the most undersigned country I've ever been to. And I keep using the example of my sister-in-law who was here on holiday, travelled around the ring road for 2 weeks with her husband, couldn't find anywhere to eat. But then she went, and somebody said, go over there, and she went into this building. She said, it was a house. We went into this house and it was full of people eating. It's probably a restaurant. She said, I think it was, but there was no sign. And it's something I've noticed as I've gone around. Very little directional signage. Even some buildings don't tell you they're a bar or a restaurant. So I think that's a big issue. It's great if you know the place and you're from here, but signage, I think, is an issue I picked up a lot. And even when you have signage, it's very often utilitarian. Okay, here's the town, here's a restaurant, and it doesn't have a sense of place. It doesn't design. It's not designed. I think, again, tomorrow, and when you look at your own DMPs, these are all really important things to be thinking about. And to reflect the sense of place. What is my place all about? How, without talking to people, do I communicate my part of Iceland different from another? And the other thing I think can happen, people tell you a lot of facts. Oh, this is a great place, this is formed geologically, but there's not as many stories. You're the land of sagas. You're the world's best storytellers. And I think that could be done so much better for visitors. But a lot of the information, forgive me, I'm being provocative and I will be for 2 days, but I think you could tell so much more about your places if you tell stories rather than just that. I'm not saying it's all like that, but I think that's really critical. And that gives the place a sense of distinctiveness. And It's not a big thing to do, but those would be my observations of some of the things where I think there's room for improvement in at the national level. And access to information. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find out, and if you don't have information, you may not stay longer or spend money. The risks of all that are that visitors might not be able to find things. They might go away unfulfilled, or maybe they just spend less in rural areas because they can't find a restaurant to eat, or they can't find somewhere to spend money. Maybe they'll be unwilling to stray off the circle because they're not confident that they will find information about places. And the biggest thing is they may feel they've seen Iceland. Now, Iceland isn't a big country geographically, but my goodness, you can't see it all in one visit or 2 visits or 3 visits. So the people who love what you've got, I think, need to feel that there's a reason to come and don't go away. As I've heard people say, well, we did the ring, so we went all around Iceland. Did you go to the West Fjords? Oh, that bit up on the top? No, we didn't go there. So people might just feel there's not enough to go back for. And your repeat visitors are going to be really valuable. So you could have low repeat business. You don't maximize revenue opportunities. And ultimately, tourism can underperform. So those are the risks. I'm not saying they're happening, but those are the risks if we don't plan well. I think I prefer to focus on opportunities than risks. I think there are 3 big areas. One is about releasing the pressure in the circle, golden circle, or even managing access to congested areas. I know you've got fabulous growth, unbelievable. I've never seen a country grow as fast, as consistently as Iceland, and even out the seasonal troughs. But the risk is that it becomes too congested and you just destroy the environment. So managing access to congested areas seems to be critical. Spreading the traffic even more out of season. Breaking the circle so that packaging and promoting remoter areas. Developing regional diversity, it's really what the DMP process is all about. Iceland is, if you look at it as an outsider, it might just look like one place. You know, when you live here, it's incredibly diverse. So promoting that diversity, developing things that reflect that diversity in your areas are all critical to the DMP, and making sure Iceland comes across as a multifaceted destination with lots of different places. And then sustainable growth. Growth is about long-term marketing and stressing this local distinctiveness. So that's kind of quick impressions. Before we go on, does anybody want to throw rotten tomatoes at me and say you're wrong, Tom, to a degree? I don't want to be too harsh because I think it's a fabulous country, but I think there's room for improvement. Before you do, I'm going to move on. Future challenges, well, you know as well as I do, this amazing growth here, stunning. But what's going to happen in 10 years' time if you keep growing at this rate? Will you be sustainable, have sustainable, acceptable growth, the kind that you'll want, with medium, because you still need medium spending visitors and high spending visitors? Who are interested, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, who are interested in the experience you offer. Lots of countries, and I would question whether Iceland has some of this, lots of countries have, Edda has arrived. Welcome, Edda. Lots of countries have mass tourism, but maybe they're just ticking a box. They've been there, done that. Iceland's, to me, not that kind of country. You want to get them coming back and back. So people who are interested in the experience, who are curious to see more and to come back. Or, the other extreme, will Iceland be a faded, one-time destination, a bit congested, a bit eroded, the environment's not looked after as well as it used to be? People say, well, I've been there, done that, where next? Let's go to Norway, let's go to Finland, let's go to Svalbard. That could lead to serious underinvestment and decline. And the other thing is, never forget, you are highly fashionable at the moment. Iceland is incredibly cool as a destination for all sorts of reasons that you know better than I do. But destinations go in fashions, and there's a risk that today's fashion is yesterday's rags. So that's, to me, again, why DMPs are critical, that you need to keep Iceland fresh and fashionable. And I'm going to quickly go through these. You know these scenarios, you've worked on them, but I just want to highlight them as we go through. That you've got the nightmare scenario over the edge, where your physical and psychological residents' willingness to accept visitors, psychological tolerance is exceeded, and Iceland is no longer competitive, or hopefully where we're all aiming, in Iceland, where there is flexibility still in tolerance, and Iceland is competitive. That's the background. You know that. I'm not going to go into that anymore. But just to reinforce it, Butler's tourism area life cycle is kind of interesting. Talks about a destination where people start to explore. That's the first phase. Then they get involved in the destination. Then there starts to be development. Then consolidation of products. Then the destination starts to stagnate. And then you have two options. One is to rejuvenate destination. Two is decline. And when you get to this stage, Butler says it's not absolutely a rule, but it's kind of an interesting framework, that you get to this stage of consolidation. Total visitors numbers exceed the number of permanent residents. Well, you're already there big time by a factor of 3 to 4, and you're going to have many more. A major part of the economy will be based on tourism. Yes, you've also ticked that box. So you're getting up there. The stagnation phase, he says, is where your capacity levels have been reached or exceeded. Well, I don't know, I think you've probably got more Airbnb rooms than hotel rooms, or it's close. So you've got capacity issues already. And that leads to environmental, social, and economic problems. So what I'm trying to say is here, there are already warning signs that we need to be thinking about. They may not result in decline, but we need to think about it. You have at this stage a well-established image, but you do. But that image is no longer fashionable. People have moved on. And these are Butler's words, not mine. And heavy reliance on repeat visitation, which is great in some ways because you're getting people who want what you've got and want to keep coming back. But if you're not renewing visitors and getting a reasonable percentage of new visitors, you are risking heading for decline. So the big question is, how do you rejuvenate? And this comes back down to the DMP. It's about product innovation, about coherent planning, knowing what you want for the future, a strong destination brand at regional area level as well as national level, regional diversity, which I've already talked about, and inspired marketing. So, big question, what's going to happen with Iceland? Is it going to be this idyllic environmental paradise, or going to be like Everest, where you're just in a queue to experience the environment? So that's roughly a big sort of scene setter to challenge your thinking about your area of DMPs. Now, a quick reminder about what destination management planning is and why it's important. So what is destination management? I think most of you have seen this before. It's not rocket science. It's simply about making a plan and people working together. And at this point, I leave the room and say thanks very much for your attention. The last bit is the difficult bit. And it's for the benefit of visitors, but really importantly, the good of the community. So these two. And the definition that I like best is this one of Visit England, which I think, Anthony, you were actually instrumental in creating this definition some years ago, were you not?
Maybe.
Yeah. It's about leading, influencing, and coordinating the management of all the aspects of the destination, every single thing that the visitor experiences, taking into account the needs of visitors, local residents, businesses, and the environment. And it's what I call the virtuous circle. Responsible tourism development means balancing the interests of visitors and residents, businesses, and the environment. And these can often be in conflict. So residents can get fed up, as we were saying last night, that they can't drive their kids to school because there's too many tourists. Businesses can get fed up because there are environmental restrictions put on them, because instead of being able to have unlimited access to a natural environment site like Geysir, they're only allowed one bus every half hour or whatever. So it's getting all those in harmony that's critical, because you can't have unlimited visitors, you can't have unlimited access to the environment, or you'll destroy everything. So that to me is the virtuous circle. The plan is a shared statement of intent to manage a destination over a period of time, particularly with all the different stakeholders, and that's where it becomes different from a company business plan. I keep saying that DMP is no more than a business plan. I've got 10 minutes. Thank you. And we've got so many stakeholders involved, and it's about action, the actions you'll take and the apportionment of resources. And I'm just going to say today, I'm going to ban the use of this word, resources. Anybody who mentions resource, money, will be fined money, 10 krona at a time they mention the word. Because what I want to get across is a plan doesn't cost money. Implementing it does. So we don't want in these 2 days to be considering money. That's a later stage. This is about planning, but we'll go into more of that tomorrow. And the DMP never ends. You keep needing to review, see where you are, and refine it. And the benefits are that cooperation at a regional level makes us stronger together. We share resources. I've just mentioned it, I'll pay you 10 krona. We share human resources. We're more efficient. Join that. It's about local solutions. This is not imposed from a national level. It's about you developing solutions bottom up. And it's about a focused approach, so that you get the kind of tourism you want, visitors get a better experience, hopefully their quality of life is better, you're more competitive with the destination, and you get better business, not necessarily more, but the kind of business you want. And hopefully by sharing your efforts, you reduce costs. And ultimately, I just love this quote, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Or more importantly, in your way. So in summing up, the critical success factors for DMP are a clearly defined area, knowing what you, the community, want, type of visitors you want, understanding who your visitors are and who they might be, and honest appraisal of your product, because we need to be very honest about our failings and our development needs. Strong leadership, and Anthony will say more about this later, but strong leadership is critical to the DMP. Cooperation across stakeholders, on the goal.